Okay, so today I will be reading from an article from a different website than last few days. It's the heart.org website, and their article is on signs of heart problems. Do keep in mind many of these signs and symptoms, well, actually just signs in general. Many of these are common ones that you get with all kinds of problems with the body and all kinds of other diseases or diseases, illness, just unwellness in general for the body. So do keep in mind many of these are. So if you do show signs of some of these, I would suggest going and seeing a doctor on the safer side situation, but don't automatically jump to, it's heart failure or something like that. So in this case, it's people with heart failure, signs and symptoms. Shortness of breath has been listed. Breathless during activities at rest or while sleeping are part of it. And this can happen to a lot of people for various reasons. But basically, if you are having more trouble breathing than you used to, there's probably something wrong. Chronic coughing or wheezing, these are also signs of other types of illness. Ones like a cold virus, particularly upper respiratory type ones. So in this case, it's one of those things that if it is bad, if it does get bad, or if you start coughing up blood or something like that, go see a doctor anyways, because you never know. You've got buildup of fluid in the body. This can happen for other reasons as well. You might have an infection of some sort or other problems. But as I said, many of these signs and symptoms can be related to other. Some of these are ones you want to take more serious than others. Fatigue or feeling lightheaded, tiredness, fatigue, lightheadedness. These can be signs and symptoms of other problems, including vertigo problems caused from inner ear infections or other situations. In either case, on a safe side, it depends on how long it lasts, how much you've been dealing with it, and what you've tried to do and deal with it otherwise. Some people get vertigo, and really all you need is a little bit of time to sit down or a little bit of water, maybe to clear your head. Maybe you're a little dehydrated, things like that. Those problems can be taken care of. First things first to consider is how bad it is. Second of all is to consider what you're doing to begin with. If you're having it and you've increased your water intake already, if you've increased water intake as it is, and you're still, dizzy, fatigued, feeling very lightheaded, I would suggest at least talking to a medical professional of some sort. Um, Nausea or lack of appetite. Ooh, this one's a pretty bad one for a lot of people. And I mean, it can be a sign and symptom of all kinds of things. A lack of appetite or nausea. For me, it depends on what type of nausea or lack of appetite. If I'm lacking it for simply a day type deal, I'm a young, healthy female. If I lack it for a day type deal, it's not that big a deal. It's usually hormone related and I'll be fine. But if I am lacking it for several days in a row, I just don't feel hungry. That's when I call up the nurse hotline. So with Kaiser Permanente, I actually there is a nurse hotline I'm able to call and talk to a nurse about these things, and they are able to give us advice. If they think it's more serious, they'll put me through on, on getting to talk to a doctor, either via on the phone or an actual appointment in person. But yeah, these can be signs and symptoms of other things. Use your best judgment. You know your body best on this. Confusion, impaired thinking. This can also be caused from other problems. If you've recently hit your head, if you've possibly been eating the wrong kind of combination of food. Believe it or not, ginger is one of those foods that can cause you to have memory problems if you've been eating too much of it lately. So, examine what you've been eating first. Examine why you might have confusion or impaired thinking otherwise. If you've been drinking, you know. So start with the basics and try to work your way through a list carefully before you assume that this is something big and important. Increased heart rate. Okay, high heart rate. This is if you are having a racing heart despite the fact that you're resting. This is usually not a very good sign if you have a high heart rate going and you've been really not doing much more than sitting around. It can be signs and symptoms of other problems, not just heart failure, not just heart disease. It can be signs of some serious problems in your body. So it doesn't always happen for that reason. I will straight out tell a lot of you here and now, I've had several of these symptoms in one go, and it looked like it was heart failure on the outside, but all my tests and everything that my doctor put me through, she did it out of just making sure I was okay. Everything she put me through came back clean, came back what it was supposed to be, all that. And she still was able to determine, and still I suffered from them, but she was able to determine that my signs and symptoms were from stress. So, as I do say, some of these symptoms are common of other aspects, and one of those aspects can be stress. If you're under a great deal of stress, you can actually have several of these symptoms without knowing that it's just stress. But it's always best to, of course, when possible on these, if they are in combination with each other, talk to a doctor. If they're sudden or intense, and they shouldn't be, you should be perfectly healthy and fine. You take care of your body, right? You're getting enough liquids in you, all that type deal. If you're doing the right stuff and you're still suffering these problems, something might be wrong. So, as I do say. Anyways, I'm going to post the link for this article down below in the description. If anyone would like to tell their stories of signs and symptoms that ended up them in the hospital for other reasons, and it had nothing to do with heart disease, or it had something to do with the heart disease problem that they ended up with or ended up being diagnosed with, please feel free to comment in the feel free to comment below. I will I will majorly enjoy at least hearing from other people on this. So anyways, that's today's video. I hope you all have a great day, and thank you for tuning in. Bye for now.